how I would make the perfect 10 fragrance collection if I had to start from scratch. I always advocate on the channel that you as a collector should go for quality, not quantity in your collection. I feel that too many of us as collectors sort of impulse buy early on in our journey. I know I'm one of them, hence why I'm now a fragrance reviewer, because I had to do something with my fragrance addiction. And I kind of want to make this video for you guys who want to slow down with your purchasing, how to make a well-rounded collection, 10 fragrances only. I'm going to go through 5 categories like I always do in this channel. That's going to be 2 fragrances that are versatile, 2 that are for the office or workplace, 2 for the summer or springtime, 2 for nice romantic reserved evenings, and then finally 2 for louder evening environments. I've picked 10 fragrances today that will show you my examples of what I would consider the perfect 10 fragrance collection. It's not necessarily my 10 for life, I'm just giving examples here, but you kind of take these concepts and kind of apply them yourselves and get fragrances that I would say fit each of these descriptions. So yeah, take this all with a pinch of salt. These are my 10 for life, they're just examples. Let's begin the video. Versatile fragrance number 1. I think your first versatile fragrance should obviously be the Dumb Reach. The one that is just super inoffensive, works anywhere, anytime, any place. And you just know that if you're in a rush, you can grab this and it'll work. I'm starting off with Sauvage, the Parfum concentration. A super underrated concentration of Sauvage. It's really nice. I think it's very much underlooked. I would give the original Eau de Toilette an 8 out of 10, but I give this Parfum a 9 out of 10. I think it's better blended, with better ingredients, and it still has pretty good longevity, and it's not as loud and as annoying as the Eau de Toilette, potentially. The Parfum is sort of like a soft and medium projecting 10-hour long-lasting fragrance. It focuses more on naturals in the Sauvage DNA. It still has a bit of that ambroxan in there, but it's not as synthetic as the other concentrations, and it's nowhere near as intense as something like Sauvage Elixir, for example. This is a more reserved, cool, and well-blended, better blended version of Sauvage, really. It focuses more on the mandarin notes and the sandalwood in here. So I kind of think if you consider Bleu de Chanel Parfum the more mature version of Bleu de Chanel, I would think the same thing about Sauvage Parfum. The more natural, more mature, smoothly blended version of your Sauvage. And versatile fragrance number 2, you want a fragrance that kind of makes you feel sexy. You want just a really sexy, fun, and attractive fragrance that you just want to use it in those kind of scenarios where you just want to smell attractive. Maybe you're going to hang out with a lot of girls, for example, and you want to really impress them, for example. I don't know. My example is Lafayette Street by Bond No. 9. So this is a sexy fragrance. It smells like Parfum de Marly's Percival had a baby with La Nuit de l'Homme. This is apple, ambroxan, spices in here, very fresh, playful, and romantic. Definitely an ambroxan dry down in here as well, but it's just a super sexy, musky, balanced DNA that I think everyone was going to love. It's very versatile again, but it's more playful than something like Sauvage Parfum, for example. You could also have other fragrances in these 2 examples. So let's say instead of Sauvage Parfum, you can go for Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum, or instead of Lafayette Street, you might go for something like La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique as well. That's also a sexy fragrance. Kind of gives you 2 different styles of versatile perfumery to play with around here. 32% of people who watch School of Scent are subscribed to us. If you guys want to see our channel grow, to really help us out, click subscribe. Let's get that number to 40%. Thank you. Then we have the reserved evening environment. So these are going to be your dates or nice dinners, just hang out with friends or family, and you want something that just works for that nighttime environment. I would say your first example of this category should be something that's very safe, inoffensive. It pretty much works in any evening scenario, and ideally all year round. My first example is Jazz Club by Maison Margiela. Super safe, but still full of character. The best fragrance from the Maison Margiela brand, in my opinion. Boozy, spicy, tobacco, amber perfumery that is just romantic, but sexy at the same time. Sort of a little bit bad boy-esque, a little bit alluring and mysterious. I think it works in pretty much any scenario. I would wear this on a date personally, but you can go for something like Dolce & Gabbana's the One Eau de Parfum, as well as a safe date night scent. The original La Nuit de l'Homme, if you want. Maybe even something like Rocher's Mustache Man Eau de Parfum. And then reserved evening fragrance number 2. You want something that is a bit more extravagant. It really has more of that wow factor for those really big special occasions. Let's say you're going to a fancy dinner or some sort of black tie event. You want to wear a fragrance like this to really bring out the big guns and impress people, but at the same time not be overbearing with your scent potentially. Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille is my example. So Tobacco Vanille to me could be a perfect black tie tuxedo fragrance. It is warm, spicy, cacao tobacco perfumery with obviously a vanillic backbone as well. It is super sexy, but at the same time, super expensive smelling. I do know there are some excellent clones of it, like Al Haramain's Amber Oud Tobacco Edition, so you could go for that as well. But I really like the tobacco vanilla. Just the general idea works really well here. It's just a really enticing and special occasion kind of scent to it, in my opinion. That's what the DNA reminds me of. But you could also wear something like Naxos here in this scenario, or Angel Share. Just remember, it has to be a very special occasion, elegant feeling, reserved evening scent here. For the office or workplace, you need two different fragrances that I recommend. So the first one would be something that's very casual, laid back, something you can just throw on when you're not having too much of a serious day at work. Chanel's Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême. Really elegant, really clean. I think it's very appropriate for the workplace. I used to wear it to work all the time myself. Very minty, fresh, and creamy at the same time. This is a very beautifully blended fragrance that makes it smell elegant. I feel like it just suits the workplace really nicely, but at the same time, it obviously has that sporty casualness to it. You can wear this at a casual day to work, and then obviously go to the gym with it as well afterwards. I think it works really well in that kind of scenario. Another fragrance you could have here in this example could be something like Prada L'Homme or Burberry's Touch as well. Those kind of fragrances work here. And then let's say you have a more serious day at work, or something more serious is happening, like a job interview, or you just want to smell more serious and really get into your work scenarios, then go for something like this. It's going to be Eau Sauvage Parfum by Dior. You could also go for something like Terre d'Hermès, Grey Vetiver, or Chanel's Platinum Egoiste. These are more serious and mature vibe kind of fragrances that really get you serious about work. If you're wearing a suit every day to work, this is something that works for it. Or if you have a job interview, you want just a different feeling, you want to get more intense and into the zone at your workplace, this is the kind of fragrance choice you can go for. And it gives you a different style of perfumery, something more gentlemanly and classical. Eau Sauvage Parfum is a great classical barbershop scent that focuses more on amber perfumery here as well. So it's like a sweet, modern take on barbershop perfumery, but still clean and professional enough to wear to work all year round. And it lasts 14 hours. So it has excellent performance, medium to loud projection. 2 sprays at work is my recommendation. For louder scenarios, you need 2 different fragrances. One that's more casual. You're going to think of something like Versace Eros here, but my recommendation is Azzaro's The Most Wanted. It's like Versace Eros, fun, easy to like, casual, and loud, but this is more modern and more relevant in my opinion, and not as boring as Versace Eros. You can also wear something like Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Mal Elixir here, or you can wear something like Versace Eros Flame also. But The Most Wanted has this really loud, sexy, toffee, amber, woody DNA that just works really nicely in this category. I think everyone will love this. You get a lot of compliments. So if you're going to some sort of clubbing or gig or party, you want a loud fragrance, something like this will work really nicely, and you don't really have to think too hard about it. And then after that, I kind of feel like you need some sort of niche, expensive fragrance that feels really elegant. Again, it's you bringing out the big guns that is still loud, but just uses more expensive perfumery. My example is Amouage's Interlude Black Iris. Super natural, super expensive smelling oud, amber, smoky, dark perfumery with the orris root in there as well. So it's just got really beautiful notes in here. 14 hours longevity, 14 to 16 hours with a loud projection. 2 sprays and I can smell this easily all day. This is the kind of fragrance when you really want to impress. You could have something like, let's say, Black Afghano in this category as well, something really loud. Red Tobacco could be here as well, Hafez 1984. These are the kind of fragrances that, you know, you go into a more expensive, loud environment. Let's say you're going to a really fancy party, for example, and you really want to smell more expensive and luxurious. These are the kind of fragrances you need in your collection. Lastly, we got the spring and summer scenario, so the warm weather scents that need to be lighter, need to be fresher, but still you want decent longevity from these kind of fragrances. A lot of times they can be lackluster, so hopefully these are some good examples for you. Example number 1 is Versace Pour Homme. The first category of summer fragrances I recommend is a casual fragrance. Again, kind of like your Dun Reach, Versace Pour Homme is that. It's classical, citrus, musky, sharp, aquatic perfumery that's just super easy, clean and fresh to wear every day. It lasts about 6 hours, which is not bad. And I think it's just a very classical fragrance. You want something to wear as your everyday scent in the summertime. And just, yeah, I feel like you need a fragrance like this. You're not going too fancy. You can just spray it to your heart's content and not worry about the money you're spending here. Another fragrance that works like this could be something like Light Blue Eau Intense by Dolce & Gabbana, or something like Dior Homme Sport 2021 as well. And then in your second category, again, you're going to be in more fancy environments at some points in these seasons. You want something a little bit more extravagant, more head-turning. Go for something like Xerjoff Uden. Citrus, coffee, amber, rum-based perfumery, super unique, balanced DNA that smells like a really elegant man in the warm weather. has its brightness to it, but still smells super expensive. And these are the kind of fragrances, you know, if you're dressing up in the spring and the summertime, you wear something like this. You could wear something like Burlington 1819, you wear something like Xerjoff's 40 knots. But yeah, let's say you're just dressed up or going to a luxurious yacht or something. Let's say it just gives you more options to go for in the summertime, and you don't just want to go for your casual everyday sense. You want to, you know, level up your game every once in a while, just like you would with your clothing. So that's why I recommend these two categories for the warmer seasons. And that concludes this video, guys. What are your thoughts? Do you agree or disagree with what I've said today by creating a 10 fragrance collection? If you wanted to step it up even more, you could add 2 more fragrances. Let's say you add an oud fragrance, just if you don't have one in your initial 10 for some reason, and then add like a leather fragrance in there as well, or a gourmand as well, to add all different styles in your collection. As I said, these are just my examples, guys. You don't have to go by them exactly, but you can just generally use these ideas to kind of make your own fragrance collection using these kind of categories. So hopefully this helped you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our previous video on creating a well-rounded 10 fragrance collection. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.